What's up, everyone? This is Devin and Caleb, and we're doing a new little series here called Lions Talk. This is brought to you by Amateur Life. I have the same thing, kind of with sports talk, but versus betting, we're actually focusing on one team, kind of talking through how they did in their last game and that stuff. So we're gonna jump into this game. We got Caleb on Zoom here with me.
Hello, hello.
And then, so jumping into this Patriots pathetic game of the Lions that they had, and where they lost 29-0. Oh, and I don't know. Like, to me, this game, I blame more on the offense than the defense. To me, with offense, they've been one of the top offenses in the NFL, well, for point scoring at least over the first 4 weeks. And then we go into this week, they still had 312 yards, which isn't bad in the NFL. But when you go 0-6 on fourth down conversions and then 3-12 on third down conversions, you have 0-3 on red zone. You gave up 7 penalties for 82 yards, had 2 turnovers. I just, those stats, reading those stats off there, it shows why I think this game was lost by the offense this week.
Yeah, you're pretty much exactly right. I mean, how do you go from the best scoring offense in the league to not putting up any points?
Yeah.
Granted, the Patriots defense is good,
Yeah.
but
And so I know, like, the announcers had said, like, oh, they have some injuries, and Swift is out. Frank Ragnow, he played, but I know he's been banged up. TJ Hawkinson, he played and he's banged up. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he played but banged up. Josh Reynolds played. And Josh Reynolds, for being banged up and hurt and almost wasn't going to play in this game, he actually did really well. He's actually, for my best player of the week, I was almost going to take him. But also, I like this Craig Reynolds coming up, stepping up a little bit more this 2 week. I think he did pretty well for having 6 carries out of the backfield for 24 yards and then 3 receptions, 68 yards on that. So, I gave him, I kind of did like a best player of the week for offense. And I gave it to Craig Reynolds. I was also thinking of Josh Reynolds, kind of for that. But, they were talking injuries. I don't see, yeah, they're banged up, but what team isn't banged up at this point? You don't get healthier as the season goes on. But again, in this game, I just seen a lot of the offensive line seem to struggle, which put pressure on Goff, which when Goff is pressured, he does not play well at all. I mean, we've seen old Goff here of why he's no longer, why he came to Detroit is because he was having the struggles like he did this past week. Like when he gets pressured, he just gets flustered and doesn't make smart decisions.
yeah, you pretty much nailed it. I mean, their offensive line was rated, I think, like top 5 in the NFL. I mean, obviously they're putting up that many points, and then obviously we keep saying the Patriots has a great front, but they just destroyed our offensive line, and Goff looked horrible. I mean,
Yeah.
coming into this game, he looked athletic, like he was moving out of the pocket. He was actually running a little bit, and he just couldn't do anything.
Go back and look at the games. Like I was doing highlights and looking at his plays from the games when he would, other games when he wasn't getting pressured, he would step up and then out, to
Mm-hmm.
clear himself of the players. Where this, he wouldn't step up in the pocket. He was so nervous and so frantic that he would just take off to the outside, running almost right into the pressure, or versus
Yeah,
stepping up, clearing himself of the pressure. Okay, I'm still okay. Nothing there. Then step out type of deal where you clear the two, at least the ends that the end rushers. There's typically you can clear those guys then, where he was just trying to outrun them to the sideline and wasn't working. So, Goff is my worst
mm-hmm.
offensive player of the week. Like, with having he only went 19 for 35, 229 total passing yards, 1 interception, 1 fumble,
One fumble.
touchdown, and then he gave up 2 sacks at 18 yards. So I put, Goff just did not look good. I mean, and because there were some times where he had plenty of time and he just again didn't look locked on as one read. You don't see him go through his progression in some of the plays and stuff, and that was frustrating. So, uh,
Yeah, I mean, one big thing with this game is how do you go from, you know, a week before against Seattle. Granted, Seattle's defense compared to Patriots is non-existent, but I mean they were missing Amon St. Brown. They were missing Craig, or no, they were missing
Swift.
Chark, and Swift. They're missing basically everybody, and they found ways to get other people the ball. Look at T.J. Hockenson. He had 2 touchdowns, like 9 receptions for like almost 100 yards. Like T.J. Hockenson is literally a George Kittle or a Travis Kelce, and when they actually utilize him correctly, is when they play well or opens up a lot more. And he had, I think, maybe 1 reception the entire game and only like 3 targets. So that's one thing that kind of really shocked me. And then the Lions' time of possession was pretty horrible. I mean, like you said, they went 0 for 6 on 4th downs. They went 4 for 12 on 3rd downs. So, I mean, their offense just really horrible.
Yeah, 20, well, I mean, they still had almost half the game, 28.31. So the time of possession was good. And, you're not going to get much more than that. You're going to have the ball at least half the game. And you got to figure. And like I said at the beginning, 312 yards in the NFL is actually decent. It's not terrible. Well, I mean, you kind of expect a couple hundred yards in passing and 100 yards in running is kind of what I normally look at it. Normally, though, with 300 yards, you're talking 3 touchdowns or at least coming away with some field goals and stuff. But I don't know. To me, another thing, just to get some momentum and going, stop going for it on 4th down when you're in the red zone. Just kick the field goal and take the points.
Mm-hmm. I know. Which I think a lot of it was the kicker situation, kind of. But
yeah, but I mean, you still got to trust. If a kicker's in the NFL and you're in the red zone, what to have what they have 3 red zone trips and come away with nothing.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's, man, no. At some point, you got to just change up your game plan because obviously 4th downs weren't working. Like we said, they've done 0-6 this week for them, so it was frustrating. On the defensive side, I mean, defense
actually played well in my opinion.
I give them for what they've been and doing, and I mean,
granted, it's a rookie's first start.
Yeah, and the only touchdown that was scored was actually on the golf fumble. It wasn't even a touchdown given up by the defense. Yeah, they let them get in the red zone and kicked a lot of field goals, but they still. I think
at one point they had 5 of their DBs out of the game or injured. I mean, they went down back to back to back. I mean, obviously 2 of them came back, but I mean, we couldn't stop the run again. That's kind of one big thing that's kind of been killing us since the start is we can't stop the run. So
yeah, I mean, we're still
Stevenson
the run.
Tore us up.
Yeah, Stevenson did tear us up, but I mean, at the same time, and we closed it down when we got in the red zone because they were in the red zone 4 times and they came away with only field goals.
Mm-hmm.
So you only can do so much for a defense, and then when your offense is not helping you out at all, I mean, and so like for kind of the defense, and I know cornerbacks were out, and so, but I can't.
Secondary played great.
Secondary, for the most part, I would say.
I mean, compared to what they've been, it was so crazy to me how they had so many injuries. And what they've been doing the first 4 weeks compared to that is how they even played that well. It's kind of surprising. No, they didn't play perfect, but
yeah. So we I say, would they give up? They got 1 interception. They averaged with Stevenson running the ball, they were averaging and the 6.5 yards per play is what Patriots end up averaging. And then we gave up 364 yards, which I'd like to see that like kept under 300. And is from a defense only allow that. So my overall, I guess I did a grade 1 out of 5, 1 through 5. And for offense, I gave us a 1. For overall defense, I gave us a 2. They played better, or not the best than you could have been, but I definitely put this a lot more on the offense. This loss on the offense.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm starting to do these Carolina ones, even though we haven't posted one yet. But it's this last game for the Lions has been the Carolina Panthers all season. The offense was just horrible, and their defense was okay.
Yeah, I was kind of frustrated in watching this game, and then with New England the thing is like imagine I know Mac Jones hasn't been the greatest, but if he was in or just someone who's a little bit more, I mean, Zap was it Zappy or Zap?
Yeah, something like that.
He didn't play bad, but they definitely run heavy. Didn't trust him, let him throw the ball quite as much. So, and when the run's working, I guess you're not getting stopped by the run. You might as well keep going to it. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's one of those things. Is like I think this could have been a lot worse if they had a better quarterback in. Not a third string. So, definitely hope they get healed up a little bit and come back, with some vengeance because this could be Dan Campbell's last year if they don't get something turned around.
Yeah, I we'll get to it, but I actually wrote a question down. I said, "How long does MCDC have?" Question mark.
Hang on just a second. Hello.
But
Hi. No, I'm doing a
yeah,
podcast.
it'll be nice to get some players back. We'll have if we can get Swift back, we can get St. Brown healthy, Chark back. It's going to be really helpful. But our defense really kind of needs to step up. I know we are just talking about it, but
Yeah. So, what was that question again? That's kind of because we'll kind of jump into the season
well,
as a whole. So,
yeah. I had two questions really. It says how long does Dan Campbell have, and what is the fix if there ever is going to be a fix?
if they don't have 6 wins, if they can't sneak out 6 wins by the end of the season total, well, Dan Campbell's done. In my
You think
opinion.
so?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give him one game. I'll give him five. If he doesn't have at least 5 wins, I see he's done.
This is this a second or third? This is the second season, right?
Yeah,
And I mean, that's kind of the way the NFL is trending. I mean, look at Matt Rule just got fired his third season.
yeah,
And if you're not producing, if you're not kind of doing what you promise, you're just going to kind of say, forget you. But I don't know. I still think he's done a lot, even though his record doesn't show it. But going into last year and beginning of this year, I mean, there's so much potential.
yeah. I mean, watching the Hard Knock series and stuff that we all watched, he definitely gives life to the team. I definitely don't think it's like a lack of like motivation that he provides. He gets the players amped and seems to get them pumped up and stuff like that, which is good on a head coach. And then it's just where does the change need to come then? Do we need to change up offense coordinator, defense coordinator? Do we need to look at spending some money and get some different players? Type of deal. Where does that change come from then if it's not head coach, which
It's gonna be a little bit of everything. I say you keep Dan for a couple more years, and the Lions are a completely NFL player based coaching staff. I mean, if you watch Hard Knocks, every single coach, I mean, they're the by far the most experienced playing wise than any other staff in the NFL. So maybe you need to have a good mixture of some really, really crazy minded people on offensively, defensively, whatever it is, and some player coaches that played in the league that know. So a good mix, I think, would kind of help them.
yeah,
And all this offseason / draft, they just need to do all they can on the defensive side, and they're trying. I mean, they drafted Hutchinson, who isn't doing much.
yeah. So kind of one of the things, preseason Lions are predicted to have 6 wins. Now we'll kind of run through the games and we'll see if they can get it. So right now they have 1 win, but they're getting ready to face coming out of bye. They'll face Cowboys. Do you think they win or lose that?
They lose that.
That's my thought. They'll lose that one. Then they got to play Dolphins. If
Could
two is
go
back,
either way, but
I think they lose. If he's not
I
back,
think
they have a chance.
I think they probably lose either way, but
Packers,
that's a loss.
Bears.
They could win that. Bears are real bad.
So we'll say one for sure right now. Giants,
That's a loss.
Bills,
That's a loss.
Jags.
See, the Jags were super hot, and they just put up 6 points and lost to the Houston Texans, who were probably the worst team in everybody's opinion going into that week. So I don't know. That could go either way. Depends what Jags team shows up.
Yeah. And we'll give them that one just because we were so far along. So that's only two. Vikings,
Loss.
Jets,
Probably lost, yeah.
Panthers.
Probably a win.
There's 3. We have Bears again,
Probably a win.
and then Packers.
Loss. So
I-
4 wins.
So that gives them 4
It makes-
more on top of their 1. So I'd put them at 5. So we have them at 5.
Mm.
I think
Which the
I think they can get it done. I think they can finish the, what is it, 6-10 would be their final record, right? Because they play 16 games now with the extra week.
Mhm.
And so I
Yeah.
think they sneak it out somewhere, whether they split with Packers. If Packers are in for playoffs and don't really need to fight for it, that last game could be an easy one for the Lions.
One thing to note quick too is our two of our 3 losses were against very, very good teams where we only lost by 3 points and 2 points. And we were leading against the Vikings the entire game. We choked that, and then we only lost to the Eagles by 3.
See,
So
I used to
just-
look at that a lot more until I found out that about 90% of NFL games are within 1 score. So that means 8 points or less is
yeah, but
so
I mean the Vikings and Eagles are top 2. I mean Eagles are number 1 and Vikings are
number 1.
2. Number 1 in their conference, but 2 in the NFC.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it's like that's a
those 2 are good teams, and we lost to those.
and we took care of the Commanders like we should have. So I mean, looking at those, I mean, you're going to have an off week here and there, and it just happened to be against the Patriots. So I mean, there's bright sides going into the rest of the season. It's just
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they can turn
tough
it
schedule.
because like Seahawks, I think we should have won that game, and
Sure.
Vikings, we should have won that game, and then Eagles, that was even close. I mean, and that was their losses have all been 3 points. So but so do you think they have a shot? Where do you think they finish in the conference then?
3rd. I think it's gonna go Vikings, Packers, and then us, and then Bears.
That's
which I said that at the beginning of the season. So
yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on how we do play against the Bears. The Bears have not been looking that great, but I'm banking on this was just an off week is really what we gotta hope for. So
yeah,
that's all we got for this one this week. Because we have a bye next week, so we won't preview next game. Otherwise, we'd take a look at that. So probably look in, and next week we'll probably do one of just a preview. So these first couple will probably be short, and then we'll probably be a little bit longer after that. So thanks for listening, or thanks for watching. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the little notification bell, so that way anytime if we go live or anytime we post a video, you'll know about it. Hopefully soon we'll do some of these live. And if you're on your podcast, make sure you follow us and leave us a review or leave us 5 stars. We're on Spotify, Apple, Anchor, Amazon Music. We're on now. So definitely check us out. And this is Lions Talk. Peace.
see ya.